We are doing another mock draft. We're drafting the entire first round, and we're drafting all the AFC teams today. We're going to see what players fall to us, how things can be random, and we're going to be looking at the draft in a different way. We're trying to break the draft a little bit and see what situations could unfold if a little bit of randomness happened here or there that could cause some changes throughout the draft. We're doing this every week, multiple times a week, just creating scenarios of how the draft could look like if a few different variables happened. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're breaking the draft every day. We're looking at these rookies. We're looking at prospects. You need to know what these rookies look like before they start making plays for your team, for your fantasy team, for your dynasty team, and whatever else you got. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we're over here at PFF. I got all the AFC teams, so I'm going to be drafting a lot of picks early. And we're going to get this draft started. So starting the draft, no trades. No trades straight up. Maybe later we'll do a few. But right now we are looking at this draft. Titans are on the clock. I don't believe we should get super crazy here in the start. I think we should hold pat to tradition because I want to see what the NFC has in store for us. Let's draft Cam Ward. And Cam Ward comes on down to the Tennessee Titans. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock. And the question for the Browns, as I see it right now, is Abdul Carter versus Shedeur Sanders. And as I look at the board here, I see the AFC has a lot of picks here that don't really need to address quarterback. And the NFC could make things really interesting with Shedeur Sanders, but the last time he fell quite a ways. I believe if we draft Shedeur, Abdul Carter's going to the Giants in this scenario, or it's possibly Travis Hunter. I want to hold pat. I really want to see what the NFC does. And let's go with Shedeur to the Browns. Let's just go with that. Let's just see what happens. Again, we're not trying to get the draft right. We're trying to see what happens and what could unfold. So, really, my point was Abdul Carter or Shedeur Sanders to the Browns. I think those are the best picks. Third option, Travis Hunter. But really depends on how they want to address needs and player evaluations. Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. And he's a player that should be pumped up there. Honestly. And he could be the cause of the drop for Shedeur. That is the thing. Or Shedeur goes to the Giants. That could possibly happen. But Abdul Carter is a man that's going to be on a mission and is a man that's going to be drafted pretty high. We got the Patriots on the board. We've been drafting T-Mac a lot to the Patriots. What are some other avenues we could go with here? Offensive line, but it's a little bit of a reach. We got Travis Hunter there. I just don't see that really happening. I think they're going to be very invested on getting Drake May, their guy. And a guy that can help him get elevated to the next level of production and really helping this team move the chains. That being said, when you look at the wide receiver well and talent, after T-Mac, after Luther Burden, it dips down quite a bit. You got Mika Ibuka, who'll be a good wide receiver in the first round. I think T-Mac's going to come on down and be a good pick for the Patriots. I would not be surprised if there's movement on the board in this spot of the draft now that I've done a lot of mock drafts. Jaguars are on the clock. The options here are really standing out. Travis Hunter, Mason Graham. Those are the two options. Travis Hunter, multifaceted. You could use him at wide receiver a little bit. He'll really give you more depth on your wide receiver depth chart. And then at DB. And that's a position of need per PFF. Mason Graham fills a position of need. Both of them solid prospects. I think Travis Hunter to the Jaguars. I think we're going to pull that trigger today for this mock. Remember, this isn't like I'm trying to get it right. It's more like we're trying to just go with the flow, see what happens, see what the NFC does with their picks, and react to it. That's going to be later. But the Raiders are on the clock. I have mocked Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. I've done that before in a mock. And I think that's going to the highest he could potentially go. I just don't see it likely with how deep this running back class is. It's a good, talented running back class that's deep in every round. That's got talent there that you'll see in every round, and especially the UDFA spots. That's the type of running back class we are looking at. Mason Graham still on the board. You're looking at Will Johnson, and you're looking at Starks. Really picking your poison on the defensive side of the ball. And quarterback's an issue. It's a big position of need. They may have to trade up if they want Shedeur. Shedeur might fall to their lap in real life. But we've made that experiment before. I think in this situation, I am going to be drafting Will Johnson to the Raiders and get you a DB. Jets are on the clock, and they're not going to be super sexy here. They're the Jets. We got a lot of sexy on this team. Unless things start to break down in free agency and roster changes going into the draft. With what we know now, I don't think they're going to be super sexy unless things change. We're going Mason Graham here for the interior defensive line. Now we got some changes and some big names. I've not combed through the changes of the PFF rankings, but I'm excited now. I'm excited. One of my boys coming off the board at the 8th spot. James Pierce. James Pierce coming off the board. I've been mocking him ahead of the rankings these last few weeks. Now we're in the top 10 per PFF. We were early, but the Carolina Panthers pull on James Pierce. Now we're looking at the Saints. They go with Mike Green. And now we're looking, the Bears go Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty to the Chicago Bears. There's other positions of need. There's some other things I would do differently. And if you watch most of my videos, I go different with the Bears. I don't think I've mocked him to the Bears yet to see how that would unfold. But I'm excited with that pick. Starks to the Niners. That seems like a Niners pick. A Niners move in the draft if they had to stay put and no trades were locked in. Luther Burden to the Dallas Cowboys. I like that pick. You got a good wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb. He's good at creating separation. Look at his separation grades per PFF if you can't watch the tape. But he was also a high-end recruit coming out of high school. He had some production as a freshman. The following year, very productive. This is a guy that's going to be drafting the first round, and he's going to go in this range of the draft. But now we are drafting for the Dolphins. And we got tackles on the board, and we got a guy falling to us. Will Campbell, and I like pulling trigger on him earlier than this, so I'm definitely getting to the help that he needs at tackle. There we go. Will Campbell off the board. Colts are on the board. The popular pick for them is always Tyler Warren. What is edge looking like? What is that looking like? What is the talent pool on the edges looking like right now? Where is that at? Defensive line, there's edge. Let's look at that. Williams, Stewart, Sawyer. It's drying up a little bit. I think we could wait. On top of that, I think corner, you can wait a little bit. I like Benjamin Morrison. I like him a lot. I think I'm going Tyler Warren here. I think we're just going to stay status quo. I think that's what the draft is telling us to do. Emeka Egbuka to the Atlanta Falcons. This is an interesting pick for him and an interesting landing spot. If you're looking at this for fantasy football, Drake London is going to command a good target share. We got to see what's going on with Kyle Pitts for the long term. When you draft a guy, you're not just looking at the rookie season. So we could be in flux there for the long term. Bijan Robinson's going to be there forever. He's going to get an okay target share. A good target share for a running back, but a good target share to steal some from the wide receiver too. We saw this offense pump it to the wide receiver 2, the wide receiver 3, and really mix it up from week to week. I think this is a great landing spot for him for fantasy, for team building. I think you can get cheaper options at wide receiver that can really impact you. I think you had other needs, especially you're good at wide receiver 1. You got Bijan, but this really amplifies what you're getting from Michael Penix. This is a good pick for Michael Penix. You're getting a guy here that can create separation, nuanced route runner. He's a running back with the ball in his hands. I think this is good to go for the Atlanta Falcons. Kelvin Banks to the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is a huge get. I think he fell in this draft. I think Banks going to the Cardinals is great for Kyler Murray. Now we got the Bengals on the clock. The thing about the Bengals, they have been addressing the offensive line, but I think we need to continue to work on it. I think Joe Burrow just needs to stay upright. I think we need to just keep adding talent at the offensive line just in case changes, injuries, developing. Just keep adding to it. Josh Simmons is a monster. I think that's a huge value. You're taking the value too, at the spot there that what came at you, and you're going to make it work. You're going to make it happen. Jack Sawyer to the Seattle Seahawks. So 2.5 weeks ago, Jack Sawyer was a second-round pick in the mocks on PFF on their simulator, and now he's in the first round. He's legit in there, and he has been in the last few weeks, but more in like the back end of the draft. Going to Seattle, he is a monster, a 5-star prospect that can really make plays happen, and he's going to continue to develop. I think there's more to come. Benjamin Morris to the Bucs. I've been mocking Benjamin Morrison to the Bucs a lot. Fills a position of need, gets you depth and upside and quality. A future starter at the cornerback position. I think that's a good pick. Now we're looking at the Denver Broncos. And we got a rookie quarterback here. So we're looking to address things to help that quarterback if that's available. There's one player that I'm definitely looking at for the Denver Broncos that could address that position of need. He's down there a bit. I'm looking at Colston Loveland. However, looking at talent on the board, you got an edge. You got an edge in a nasty defense. He fell to you. And the thing is, people look at the positions of needs and they lock in there. And they're like, they're not drafting him. They need this, this, and this. Talent is falling to us. Michael Williams, big body. Kenneth Grant, big body. We got big bodies. We got a good tight end prospect here that could fill a good position of need here for the Broncos and really help the offense. I think the defense is holding pat pretty good. It's hard to ignore talent, but it's also, we're looking at a guy here that I think is being ranked due to him being the tight end 2, and chances are tight end 2s kind of fall a little bit more in the draft. You're looking at teams below this that need edges and everything else, so they may just run up the board. On top of that, tight end's pretty deep. You can get yourself a tight end that can develop into your system into the second round. I think Loveland is a damn good talent. Let's pull the trigger on him. Let's see what that changes here. But the Steelers are now on the clock. Quarterback is a position of need. We need some changes between now and the combine and the NFL draft for that to be a possibility. Wide receiver is an important spot. We're looking at defensive back right now and what's available there. But they're the Steelers. And what do the Steelers do? They take the values that come at them and they make it happen. They make it work. They'll take that tight end that falls to them and be like, you're our tight end too. You'd be a good prospect for everybody else. But when I look at the Steelers here, that's a high probability. We're looking at offensive line. We're looking at everything else. I've been looking at Michael Williams at edge here. We're selecting him. We're just getting more talent. And the one thing about edge rushers, if you have an extra one, it's a good thing, especially for the long term. We're not looking at rookie season 2 with these prospects. Year 2, year 3, year 4, and a guy here that can keep you fresh as you're attacking the passer. Now we're looking at the Chargers here. Running back, wide receiver. Running back, addressing that, and you're looking like at a Marion Hampton, who's on the board right now, who's graded very high. There's other running backs to look at. It's a deep running back class. Matthew Golden, a prospect that's been on the rise. When I think about this class, though, and I think about positions of need, you're looking at edge, but also look at the defensive line. We got a Michigan player right there. And I usually mock Loveland to the Chargers. Tyleik Williams is really being undersold right now. Let's go defense. Let's go defense. Let's get our Michigan guy. Let's get him back with Harbaugh. Now let's see what's coming off the board here, and things are getting very sexy very quick. And the Packers get their edge rusher. They make a smart, practical choice. And the Vikings need fresh blood at the running back position. They pick up a Marion Hampton. And this is a big-time running back. And I've been saying this all along. I've been saying it early before a lot of other people have been saying it, because we've been mocking every other day that there's a high probability that he goes in the first round. In the back end, that's the sneaky pick that's going to happen. And the Vikings have a huge hole, and they got a young quarterback. They got Darnold. They got to make that decision. And transitioning from that, having a good up-and-coming running back with good size that can catch the ball in the backfield, be good at all phases, that's huge for them. Now we're on the board with the Texans. Wide receiver, Michael Golden's looking at you. How much FOMO you're going to have for that. Also, the wide receiver free agency class is going to shake things up. Interior offensive line is more of a second-round get. So you're looking at defensive line, and you got Tyreek Williams just looking at you. Big body. I think he's been slept on with this rank of 26 in the rankings. I think this is a good pick for them. That's what I would roll with. And the Rams did what I was thinking as I was looking at Williams there. I was looking at Connerly, and I was thinking he should be up the board a little ways. He's going to the Rams. I think he gets drafted earlier than that. And now we got the Ravens on the board. I think we do not go super sexy here. And I think we draft Armand from Missouri here to the Ravens. We get ourselves another tackle. Detroit Lions get their kneecap biter, Shamar Stewart from TAMU. And Jahdae Barron goes to the Washington Commanders. They get themselves a cornerback. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock. Defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. So they're going to be looking at linebacker here. And we got Knight here at linebacker. And then we got a faller here in the rankings. Jihad Campbell keeps falling in the rankings every week. When I think about this, I think about getting somebody big up front. And we're falling in the rankings. Same with TJ Sanders, Walter Nolan. I think we're going to pull the trigger on Knight today for the Buffalo Bills. And then the Eagles pull the trigger on edge here with the 31st pick. And now we got the Chiefs on the board. Defense may not be a high priority for them unless something falls to them. Tackle was kind of light. And Wyatt Millam's on the board. I like him a lot. Nothing super sexy here that they could roll with. Unless they go running back. And going running back, Caleb Johnson would be my man for them. Maybe Trevion Henderson. Scattaboo's up there in the rankings. Dylan Sampson. I would not be surprised if Henderson or Judkins sneaks out there. Looking at what's available here out of everything. And just going with the rankings here up top. Trey Amos seems like a safe pick. They keep investing at the wide receiver spot. But I think once we're healthy and good to go, we're going to be okay. Tackle is their top priority right now per PFF. And I like Wyatt Millam. I think he's a safe get for them, and you can get running back later. That is the pick I'm going to make for the Chiefs. And there we go. That's the draft. So the thing is, things didn't get shook up too great here. It's pretty cut and dry and standard. I did like that they had the Vikings pulling the trigger on Marion Hampton in the first round. That could happen. James Pierce is the huge riser right now for PFF. Ashton Jeanty to the Bears. Very interesting landing spot. I've seen that happen a few times. Bears fans have been very reactionary to that pick. And a lot of mocks, because a lot of people have been making that mock draft because that is a huge position of need. But I think addressing offensive line, obviously tackle in the first round, is probably what they're likely to do. A Will Campbell would have been coming off the board for me. Luther Burden to the Cowboys, another sexy pick. I believe that's interesting. I think getting Colston Loveland for Bo Nix, or something to help Bo Nix transition, considering what we saw at the wide receiver spot, getting another pass catcher, something to develop with, could be rather entertaining for the Broncos. And they're pretty stacked at defense, one of the top defenses in the league. So they might be addressing whatever needs they got on that side of the ball maybe later, while trying to revamp that offense for Bo Nix and optimize that. But that's what we got here for the 2025 NFL Draft while drafting for just the AFC. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.